who wants to make a public comment? Hearing none, I will open up the floor for nominations for chair of the Finance Committee.
I would nominate Brett Schumacher.
Second.
Sorry, Brett.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All in favor of Brett Schumacher as chair for the Finance Committee?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Brett, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thanks everybody. I am definitely happy to serve as the chair of this one. I mean, we do have the caveat out there of October. If they switch to that chair, that then I can no longer chair this committee. So the vice president one will be.
Yeah, you'd have to relinquish it to the vice chair.
And then that would, let's see, I wonder if.
That's the other reason it might make sense to have
I mean, I wonder if, yeah, can we go without electing a vice for now until we have whomever is going to be on the committee, fully on the committee?
You can. You could also, if you wanted to, Ozzy could be the vice chair too. And then what would happen is, if the chair couldn't make the CIP, we would designate somebody else from the council, from the committee, to go to the CIP meeting.
I see.
But we did change the ordinance to allow citizen members to be the vice chair.
Okay.
So that's your other option.
All right.
Won't accept.
Oh, for vice chair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So then I'm just going to ask committee members present whether we would like to wait for the election of the vice chair to see whom
but they still continue to do an excellent job. All our patients just love them. But I think that we should do something we can to get them a better wage, because some of them are working 60, 70 hours a week, and then they hired 2 new people that can work 4 hours Tuesday and 4 hours on Thursday. It's not a big boost. But, and a lot of our patients sometimes have to wait an hour, sometimes up to 2 hours to get a ride. But they do an excellent job, all the help they have. I'd never say anything different on them. But if they expect them to rely on tips, these older people don't have money to tip them,
Right.
you know? So it's not like working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
But that's,
The, I can't remember in the contract, did we detail, I know we detailed like the number of vehicles that they had to maintain, but did we set a limit in there, like the minimum number of drivers? I mean, I know that they don't have control if a bunch of people quit all of a sudden, but I guess I just don't.
we did talk about that when we made the contract,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's hard to hire drivers,
Right,
and who knows if one's going to be laid up or what's going to happen too.
that's true.
And we talked also about the pay structure, but there's nothing we can do about that in the
Right.
contract.
I just don't like to be in this sort of position where, you know, maybe they can like kind of not really fulfill the whole contract, but it's too much of an inconvenience for us to get out and do something different. So I just don't like to be in that position.
Yeah, it'd be a real struggle to find somebody else to do that. I'm
Yeah,
sure
for
that it's
sure.
not, and it'd cost you a lot more money probably, but
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
I think it's worth putting our 2 cents worth in anyway.
Right. I mean, you know, we support them in hiring more staff, and if they've upped the wage on there a little bit, I think maybe that might ease that a little bit. So we wish them luck in their hiring effort. All right, enough guidance on that, Dave?
Yep, again, just informational only.
Perfect.
The next one is the expenditure restraint worksheet. That's been filed with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. The thing I wanted to point out at the bottom of page 1 of the document, you're past it already. You gotta go back a little bit, Tim. Nope, the other way. Yep, right there at the bottom of that page. There's when Act 12 was put into place, which is the supplemental shared revenue, it also indicated that we're given a pass on having to adhere to the expenditure restraint program for budget year 24. So unfortunately, we didn't have the rules in place, so a lot of my counterparts and myself were guessing what would happen, but it looks like I guessed right. So I was at 8.2% increase. In a normal world, we would have not gotten it. We would have had to stay at 6.6, but the legislature was kind enough to say, you know, with the supplemental shared revenue, we know your expenditures are going to go up, so we'll give you a pass this year. And that's all I wanted to bring up on this.
All right, thanks for that clarification. This one I was a little baffled in reading it, but makes sense
Yeah,
now.
it's an odd year. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Got it.
Any other questions on that topic? Okay. And then the next one that Tim is scrolling through, that's the actual report that's been filed with the U.S. Treasury for ARPA funds that have been appropriated and spent. So we've adhered to the April 30th deadline to file. So it's, again, this report's just here for your information only, nothing to do with it. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
Lisa?
Yeah, and this may not be the spot to ask, but I was curious about the innovation fund, if anybody knows how that money was used, because I think originally they were talking more about a space for startups and or something like that. So somebody was asking me about it, actually wondering whatever happened with that project, and I just wondered if anybody knew.
The Innovation Center?
Yeah.
So we've been working on drafting a strategic plan, which is complete now. And one of the components of that plan is to look at initially leasing some space so we can acquire some equipment to do some programming in-house. Currently, we've been doing programs at various businesses in Stoughton. I think they did one, it was either last night or tonight at Woodland Studios. They had some going on over the weekend. They've been sharing a lot of that information on their social media. We presented at Madison Rotary last Wednesday with University Alliance. They were one of our partners working with the Innovation Center and the Redevelopment Authority on the capstone projects. So we have been really just trying to get out and talk to various groups, put together the business plan. I know they've had conversations with local endowment groups to see if we can secure some more funds. Those conversations are still continuing, but at this point, we haven't made a commitment to purchase a building or enter into a lease because we want to make sure that we have a sustainable funding source. So we don't want to just spend the money and then it runs out and then we don't have anything to show for it other than we had a couple good years of programming, but we don't have any way to continue it. So that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully that answers your question.
So have they started spending that on the programs then, or?
Yeah, they've been investing, and certainly if you wanted an update from Katrina, we could have her come here and provide an update of what that looks like.
Yeah, that'd be great at some point.
We can do that.
Mayor, what's just like a quick example of what kind of programming that they've been doing? I mean, just like one example. I haven't followed them carefully enough, but.
Let's see, what was the recent one? Not sure exactly what they were going to do at Woodland Studios, but they were at one of the other businesses the other night, and that one was more of a children's event.
Okay.
And then I know Katrina was down at the VFW this morning. They had like a nonprofit business expo, I'm going to call it. It was kind of the first one to get some collaboration with the other nonprofits. But that was another one that, just really trying to spread the word. And I'm just going to look quick here. We've had events. We did the Children's Business Fair. We've done whiteboard sessions at a couple businesses as well as out at Famous Yetis. They've also been working with the Grand Inspired to do things down there, and then partnering with the school district on various dates for Fab Lab projects where community members can come into the Fab Lab. So there's been a variety of things, and right now I think we're really trying to figure out what the niche is going to be. We don't want to spend the money on a building and equipment and really not understand what works and what doesn't work. So we've been a little bit conservative in our approach. And as a board, it's generated a lot of discussion. Is it build it, they will come, or is it trial and error and then move forward? So far we've taken the more conservative approach, but yet trying to kind of build a following.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that just that little update would certainly help out. I think maybe to see like what and along with the strategic plan to kind of see what the mission statement is, major goals and milestones, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so tonight they're at Virtual Foundry. Last night they were at Woodland Studios. And then they were at Lake Higanza Park the other day. They were at Stoughton Center for the Arts, and they had a bead making with Diakonos Designs. Was the one they did with the children the other night. So it's been a variety, and I would say that for the most part, the events have been, well attended. I mean, as far as meeting expectations, some of them are small groups of anywhere 5 to 30 people, depending on the program.
Okay. All right, thanks for that. All right. Anything else with that, Dave, or committee members?
No, again, just for informational only.
All right. As we're through communications, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the April 9th meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa, second by Ozzy. Any edits, further questions about the minutes? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
And are any opposed? All right, those minutes are accepted. Looks like we got a tranche of reports up for March, Dave.
Yep. I put various comments throughout the various reports. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to add. So I'll just open up the floor to everybody to see if they have any questions.
Still say when I go through like the roll and look at like, fees in and out, and it's the number of names that I know that are on there. It's either I know too many people, or maybe I shouldn't read it as carefully, but still. I didn't have any, I thought that your comments were right in the areas where you may have asked a question about.
That's usually what I try and pick, just so that I don't want to say avoid questions, but anticipate questions.
No, I think you're good about that. It's only like usually like a little nitpicky thing that I'll go after or something like that. But I think you're certainly hitting the major ones, or something that looks strange, or like you say, when payments of something either haven't been posted or invoices haven't been filed, or this or that. I think those are all good things, so we're not wondering about why maybe it's either a small balance forward when we anticipated a larger one. Anybody have any questions for the reports? All right, nobody's got anything on those, Dave.
Okay.
So we'll move into our one resolution here, which is to amend 2024 budget for the street construction project. So contracts 1, 2, and 3.
This topic was brought up last time at finance. In theory, everybody was supportive of it. They asked me to crunch the numbers so I knew what the budget amendments would be. I had emailed everybody earlier this evening an updated number because Brian Hoops at Utilities found a correction that needed to be made. So the one that was provided via email today will be the one that you'll want to send to council, assuming that you are going to recommend approval.
Got it.
Brett, is there anything you wanted to add? Haber? Guess not.
Unless he's muted.
He's trying to call
Sorry,
in.
guys, I'm on a phone call at work.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
No problem.
No worries. Yep. Dave, the one you said, or the one in the email had it was about a $41,000 reduction on the cost?
Yeah,
Okay,
40,121.
Got it.
Tim's got it on the screen now.
perfect.
I put numbers in red that changed from the prior one.
Yep.
Is-
Greg, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think if you read through the resolution, I believe that the last whereas we need to rewrite that. It seems cumbersome. The attached summary indicates the Fund 400 construction will have decreases expenditures of 17,999, which will require less usage and so on. But that decreases expenditures? That doesn't.
Well, no, it should be decreased past tense expenditures.
Yeah, can we change that to decreased, please?
Okay,
Does this match any of the two that's in the council packet?
the council packet has the old version.
I thought we were putting them both in there because we weren't sure which one, so I think
Oh,
Candy
really?
was
I
gonna
was
throw them
looking at
both
the
in
one.
there.
Well, from what I understand, and Candy and I discussed it earlier today, yes, both were put in there, and then this one kind of supersedes the ones that were put into the packet.
Okay,
Correct. So this one will go to council first, and if approved, as it's written, then the other two contracts would be approved subsequent to this.
yeah, because the other two had different numbers on them, Brett. I don't know, you were gone, so
Yep.
that's
Yep,
why we
so-
put them both in there.
So just so everybody knows, so what happens is when we go through the contract, we just actually started this this past year, but we basically give SU a portion of the erosion control and traffic control for these joint projects, whereas before the city absorbed all those costs, and it wasn't fair for the city to take on all those costs when it was actually an SU project as well. So that's a discrepancy between when we talked about this last time and then now.
Okay, so at the council, we need to look at this one first and then both of the other ones?
Yep. So what you'll do is go ahead, Dave.
The resolution to amend the budget that's in the packet, we did get rid of. The other two that Brett is referring to is approving the contracts.
Okay,
Correct.
Will be separate from that.
got it. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to rely heavily on both of you to make those clarifications in there, in council.
Yeah, no problem. Contract 2-2024 is the one that has some slightly different numbers. It's the joint project.
Yeah.
And I think, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, if I understood this correctly, is that we'll go ahead and use SU's resolution because it has the updated numbers on it that Brian put together.
I would assume so. I made the resolution that's on the screen based upon Brian Hoop's calculations.
Yep. So this will go first and be approved if the council so chooses. And then if this is approved, then we'll go on to the next items, which are items R66 2024 and R67 2024.
Okay,
All right,
yep, and that's the way they're listed on the agenda.
okay.
Yep.
All right, so at least for this one, I'll kind of generically introduce that one, so that you guys can smooth out the details so that nobody gets confused that we had one in the packet and all that stuff, so.
Brett Haber, do you want to take the lead on that then?
For this one or for?
Oh, for the other two. I'll take the lead on this one.
Yes. Yep, that's fine. Yep. So the contract 2 is where there's a discrepancy, so I'll handle that. And I think in the packet should be the resolution from SU, and I'll just recommend to the council they use that one, and then discard the other resolution that's in the packet for 2-2024.
Yep.
Got it. All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
But we would still need to recommend this resolution to council for tonight.
Recommend to council with corrections.
Got it. Motion
Second.
by Greg and second by Lisa. Any other questions? Is it clear our intention on this? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll see that one at council tonight. Last bit up we've got is the discussion regarding the attorney appointments.
And devil's in the detail, but I've got conflicting information here. If you remember, sometime last year, I had proposed an ordinance change repealing the ordinance saying that we had to appoint a city attorney each year. It was directed back to the finance committee with the direction that we would appoint the city attorney each year at the reorganizational meeting in April. Well, the problem is the ordinance says you approve the city attorney on a calendar year basis. And if you're meeting in April, you can't approve the city attorney for the prior 3.5 months in April. So I don't know how to proceed here. So I gave 3 recommendations to kind of fix it so that both the ordinance and the appointing of the city attorney are on the same, whether it's calendar year or fiscal year basis.
Dave,
Clear as mud.
What are our contract with the attorneys? Do we have it currently set as a calendar year to calendar year or fiscal to fiscal?
They notify us each January of updated fee amounts for the year, but we don't have a continuing contract with them saying we're going to contract with them for calendar years 24 through 26 or anything like that. It's just an ongoing contract.
Got it. I mean, it puts us in just a tiny bit of a tough spot with that, because we'd get their fee adjustment in January, which would be a good time in order to approve the attorney, you know, if unless we decide we're gonna change firms, but anything like that. So that would be a good time to do that, but I think it's also a good time to do that when we do reorg, because it's sort of a given thing that we're gonna do it anyway, but maybe not always with Stafford and Rosenbaum.
You have a preference, Dave, for budgetary purposes?
For budgetary purposes, it's not going to affect me because I've got to estimate anyway what we're going to have for legal. I've just got 2 conflicting instructions on how to proceed.
I mean, I guess.
And it's not something you have to decide tonight,
right.
But
I mean, my preference would be to keep it along with the reorg meeting, because we're doing, like the official newspaper, this, that, another thing. We're always going to have attorneys.
then I would recommend that. I agree with you there, Brett. What I'd recommend then is we amend the ordinance, changing it from a calendar year to a fiscal year appointment.
Got it. Now, is that a council ordinance then, or just
yes, that would be a council ordinance. So assuming that you folks are in agreement with that, I'll work with Rick. We'll get the proposed ordinance change to you at the next meeting or the following meeting. And then that'll go to board or council, excuse me.
Got it. All right. I mean, I think that's the right approach. Let's, if the instructions aren't right, let's modify the instructions. Okay.
I don't know, I suppose.
All right.
No, it does make sense to do it that way, and like if we did it the calendar year, it's the end of December, who knows what's gonna happen? So do it in April, reorg, makes sense.
Right. Because then you
Okay.
don't, like, if you
I-
have new, or if you get new council members in April, then it kind of, then they're like 80-20 split on
yep.
that one. So anyway, okay.
Well, I've got direction unless
All right.
anybody else wants to discuss the topic.
Nope, I think we're set here.
Okay.
All right, that runs us through our items. Still got our futures out there, and we'll hack away at those little by little. And anybody else have any other things that we want to look at, or? All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Greg. Is there a second? Second by Ozzy. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.